What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Seth Davis, hello. Brandon Ontama, hello. Welcome, welcome. Just gonna be kind of the usual thing. I'm gonna give everybody a few minutes to kind of trickle on in real quick before we get going. Probably get this thing going probably around, give it another 3 minutes. Something is telling me that Sonic R is probably not going to pull in as many people as Sonic Generations and the mods and stuff, so I'm not expecting the chat to be as crazy. So hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to more of you guys, answer some more of your questions, and kind of be more involved. Also, Sonic R takes a little less concentration than Sonic Generations does on average, so shouldn't have to be super duper distracted. Kerwin McMillan, hello. I guess we might as well just kind of get it going then. I was going to wait a couple more minutes, but again, I don't think Sonic R is going to bring in the people like Sonic Generations did, so not much point. Real quick before we get started, I just kind of want to throw thank you. Yeah, nope, I'm a little more chill today. But, so before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that just kind of the process that I went through to get this running on my current PC. So, if any of you know Blaze Hedgehog, he just recently put out a video that ran you through the steps of installing the Sonic R updater. And so basically, if you already have access to a copy of Sonic R for PC, if you have a CD for it, or yeah, I don't know if it's on Steam or not, but I would imagine maybe that's possible as well. But if you have access to it, then if you install it with the updater, it will basically take that and it will bring in all of the different settings and stuff that the original PC release had before they all got kind of butchered, and then it'll make it playable on your modern PC. And the way that it did that, so I've had the same copy of Sonic R for like 18 years, no joke. Like, I was looking at the copyright on the CD. I think I got it around 2001. It looks like this copy of it is from around 1999. And so I installed it. And so what it did for that one is that it took it from the 1999 version and it updated it to the 2004 version, which apparently has a little bit more of a through line to Windows 7 and Windows 10. And so doing that allowed it to become playable. And so definitely check out Blaze Hedgehog's video on it. He's not the one that created the updater. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head who was, but definitely check it out. It should be available on Sonic Retro or wherever you get your mods, and it's really fun. It's awesome to kind of see Sonic R playable like this. I can use my PS4 controller on it. better resolution than it would be if I were just playing it on the Gems Collection or something like that. Never owned a Saturn, never played the original, but this one gets it pretty close. All right, I think it's about, now that that rigmarole is all good to go, let's go ahead and get this one started. Let me know if the sound and stuff comes through just fine. But I think that we're on track. Traveler's Tales. Also, if you haven't checked out Game Hut, you definitely need to check out Game Hut as well. It's John Burton, who was one of the founders of Traveler's Tales and also one of the programmers for a lot of, the games that you might know from it. I believe, which one was the one they worked on? I think it was Castle of Illusion on Genesis, the Mickey Mouse game. Traveler's Tales worked on that. Sonic R, obviously, Sonic 3D Blast. Also, one of my personal favorites, Toy Story 2, the kind of Mario 64-esque collectathon on PC. I loved that game growing up. I'll probably be talking about a few of my gripes and nitpicks about Sonic R on the way, like the limited roster, the limited track selection, a lot of interesting things. Just going to go with Sonic, just because I'm used to him. The first nitpick about Sonic R is that there's really no reason to not choose Sonic right out of the get-go. He's the fastest. He may not have the best turning, but if you get good with the quick turn functions, then you are going to be in good shape. Also, the fact that when I was growing up, I did not know that the quick turn was a thing because I was playing it on PC, and I did not know with a keyboard. I did not have a joystick or anything as a kid, so I had to make do with what I had, and I was able to 100% the game without even knowing the quick turn was a thing possible, because it was located at a very different location on the keyboard than the regular. I don't remember if it was WASD or if it was arrow buttons, but either way, I got the job done. Now I'm going to try and be stupid, and I'm going to try and get the Chaos Emerald as well as all the character emblems at the same time. Getting either one of them on their own are pretty easy, but getting them both in the same run can get kind of tricky. Whoop. That immaculate soundtrack. I will not listen to anybody who does not like this soundtrack, because they are measurably incorrect. I think that I've kind of given up on the Chaos Emerald, unless I can really pile on the rings and catch up with Knuckles. I might be able to pull it off. Whoop. It's gonna be a tricky one. Oh, might have just screwed it up. Yep, nope. That's not gonna happen. So I'll just race Metal Sonic first, and I'll come back and get the Chaos Emerald after. This will be a 100% completion of Sonic R. Not every character, but every character will be unlocked. All the Chaos Emeralds will be obtained, and we will see the Supersonic credits. Yeah, Sonic games have a hit or miss track record when it comes to porting them to other systems. Just look at Sonic Adventure DX and the little mess ups that they did to Sonic Adventure 2 when they ported it to PC, things like that. But Sonic R, I don't think you're going to find many people who would be willing to disagree that Sonic R on PC is probably the better version. You got the day and night system, which is pretty awesome. Better resolution overall. I don't know if there are more modes or not, but this could also just be my own bias talking, because I grew up with this game on PC, along with Sonic and Knuckles collection, Sonic CD, although I could only ever play that one at my grandma's because my home PC, whenever I got to Collision Chaos and Sonic CD, it would just break. Like, it would move at literally like 1 frame every 2 seconds. It was bad. But those, you know, Sega Smash Pack 2, so I could play Sonic 2. This one in Sonic 3D Blast. I don't know if I said Sonic 3D Blast or not already. Alright, so Metal Sonic is in our roster. Alright, let's try to get that Chaos Emerald. Yeah, I absolutely love the day-night cycle. The only thing that isn't great about it, I would say, is just that if you get the ice, you know, if you get the winter one, then that just kind of changes the racing conditions, which alone is not bad, but the fact that it's kind of random is. So it would be nice if they would be able to like kind of make the winter setting, or you know, just kind of the weather settings and stuff a little bit more or predictable when it comes to just the regular main game. Who was I was listening to a really fantastic video essay on Sonic R a while back. I think that it's a couple of years old, but they were talking about the idea of taking some of the aspects of the of each track that kind of don't make sense on their own, and then just splitting them up into their own like versions of the track, which I like the idea of. If anybody knows the video I'm talking about, it's probably like 25 minutes long or something like that. Really good video. When this video gets archived, I will track down that Sonic R video, and I will also link it in the description. Very solid. I really like a lot of what Sonic R does. It doesn't do everything perfectly, clearly. You know, it's super short. We're gonna be done with the stream in probably under 30 minutes at this point. Yeah, and the roster itself is kind of broken. Another great point that video brought up was the fact that if you decide to choose one of the unlockable characters when you haven't unlocked everybody, then you kind of put yourself in a situation where you're not gonna do well, because like if you've unlocked maybe like Metal Sonic and I don't know, Metal Knuckles, then you're kind of screwed if you choose, you know, any of the other people, because the unlockable characters are just objectively better than the core players, except for maybe Tails Doll. He may not be as good. I don't play as Tails Doll very often, and Egg Robo is probably not as good. Is it a little low? I'm sorry. There's not really a lot that I'm going to be able to do about it, because when I tried to get it as good as I could beforehand, but the situation I'm going to run into is if I close out of the game, then it's going to completely mute all of the audio, which I don't want. And if I restart the game completely, then it's going to be a situation where they're going to I have to restart everything, because I cannot save my progress in this game. I remember back in the day watching Screw Attack's, you know, top 5 worst Sonic games, and Sonic R being up top, and just being really annoyed by it for a lot of different reasons. For one thing, the game does not control as badly as people say it does. It controls a little bit like a car game, that is true. Blaze Hedgehog has also kind of mentioned that if you play it more like a car game using the acceleration instead of treating it like a platformer, you're probably going to have a better time. I play it like a platformer, though, just out of personal preference. But the controls, if you use the quick turns, there's zero reason you should be having trouble with Sonic R. it may not be the most elegant or extravagant gameplay experience, but it's definitely not, it's not utterly broken. Also, a little nitpick with that screw attack video is that they used to claim, you know, you can't turn off the audio. They kind of made a joke about it at the very end. Or you can't turn off the lyrics. You can, especially on the PC version, you can turn it off. And if you are one of those heathens that don't like this soundtrack, then you are more than able to follow your bliss. But I do think less of you if you turn off the soundtrack. Alright, so I'm not gonna get the Tails doll this time, but I'll at least get the Chaos Emeralds. If I don't, nope, if I don't fumble this. I may have fumbled it. Spoke literally seconds too soon. Oh, there we go. Oh, crap. I'll come back for the Tails doll. Playing Sonic R also lets me bring up something that I've always really liked about the Saturn era of Sonic. And kind of hear me out on this. I think that the Saturn era of Sonic is the purest in terms of Sonic's aesthetic. And I've got a couple of reasons that I think that. For one, and probably the most major, is that during the Genesis, Sonic was just as much kind of a tech demo to show off how effective the Genesis hardware was at processing things very quickly. And a lot of Sonic was based around that. They just kind of wanted to show off just the high degree of versatility that Genesis had, and they used Sonic as a tech demo to represent that. Then later in the Dreamcast era, it was kind of the same thing. Sonic Adventure was used to show off just really how powerful the Dreamcast hardware was, by even the choice to have Chaos as the main monster was just to kind of show off the ability to render water really well on Dreamcast, which up until that point had not just been doable on home consoles. So a lot of Sonic has been just kind of to show off the effectiveness of hardware. With Saturn, there was no main series Sonic game on here, and so there wasn't really anything to prove. And so when there wasn't anything to prove, then you had the opportunity to kind of see Sonic in his element without pushing any envelopes. You just kind of saw the franchise settle into its own identity. And for that, I think that you got to kind of see a very cool fusion of, you know, classic, but then also the precursor to what he would become in the modern era. That's why I prefer Saturn over classic or modern. It's a happy medium, and you can kind of go in either direction with it, and it's not going to affect either of them negatively. I'm having trouble remembering where the fifth one is. Oh, I remember where it is. It's in a weird spot. There it is. Am I going to be able to get it? I don't know. I might have to play this one a third time. Totally missed that one. Whoop. I might just restart it now. Let's do it right this time. I will say, like, I did not grow up with this cool lighting with Sonic R. By the time that I was playing it, I don't think that any of these effects were still functioning correctly. I could be wrong. I could be misremembering that. I could also just be remembering playing it on Sonic Gems Collection. But I love the kind of subtle effects that they have on here. They are subtle. They don't even really look like lighting when you see them in this context. But if you were to play it without the lighting versus with the lighting, it would immediately become noticeable that without lighting it looks significantly worse. Try looking at the chat. Nope. Nope. Oh. Oh, that works out. Whee! Should still be able to recover. The cool thing about Sonic R is that the rubber banding in this game is ridiculous. You can be in absolute last place by a wide margin, but if you are good, then it ain't no thing to get right back up to first place. It's impressive how many of the essential elements of Sonic R actually encapsulates. I think with a little bit of finesse, Sonic R would have had the potential to be a great groundwork for a 3D Sonic game on the Saturn. Keep in mind, I'm saying quite a bit of groundwork. Not that it could just be instantaneously just kind of transposed into it. Like, the controls would definitely have to see a significant amount of improvement. They work it well enough for a racing game, but if you were going to have a traditional platformer built out of this, it would have to see a lot of improvement. You see it sometimes when you come to an abrupt stop or you have to turn around. It gets painful how slowly the characters turn. After this race, I'll look at the chat for a couple minutes. I was thinking that maybe I was going to have a chance at talking a little bit more to you guys today, but I didn't remember how much concentration it takes to do Sonic R correctly. Actually, the lighting, specifically in this zone, actually kind of reminds me a lot of Speed Highway. Speed Highway also kind of had that dark blue tint to everything, like what you're seeing on the roads here. Kind of like that. There were definitely a lot of echoes of Saturn Sonic in Sonic Adventure before Sonic Adventure 2 kind of made that clear delineation. Nope. Painful slow. Fortunately, so is Tails Doll, so I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, I love Sonic R, despite its flaws, of which there are many. But love conquers all. Probably because this was the first 3D Sonic game I owned. I'm almost certain of it. Like, so the history of the Sonic games with me were that the first time I played Sonic was technically a Sonic Adventure kiosk in a Hollywood Video, or maybe a KB Toys. That was technically the first time, but the first ones I owned were Sonic 3 and Knuckles Collection CD, Sonic 2, 3D Blast, and Sonic R on PC. Those were what I grew up with, and then eventually I got Sonic Adventure when I got a Dreamcast. And so I got kind of a weird hybrid experience of the Sonic games, which is probably why I don't feel super strongly about which I prefer. I just want the Sonic games to be good. Can you feel it, Mr. Krabs? Radiance Arcade. The lyrics are definitely part of the experience. Mew the Fox. Like, it would not... Oop, oh no. Do not start me over. What just happened? Okay, cool. Still have my progress. Yep, no, like the entire soundtrack experience is mandatory for Sonic R. If you're not playing it with the lyrics, you're just not playing Sonic R. It's totally different. I would love a sequel to Sonic R. Kerwin, I think that it would be really fun. You know, Sonic Riders kind of gave that same vibe off to me. No, it just automatically does that after a couple of minutes. That's obnoxious. Yeah, Sonic Riders kind of filled that itch a little bit. And I would say that Sonic Riders is probably a better game overall. But I would also say there is something special about kind of like the platformer aspect of Sonic R that Sonic Riders just didn't get, because Sonic Riders is definitely a significantly more straightforward racing game, just with a few extra bits of flair here and there. Where are Tails' ears? Is that That's interesting. It's only happening to Tails. But yeah, like the white of his ears are not there. That's interesting. Alright, moving on. Regal Ruin, this is probably my favorite. I really like kind of the ancient aesthetic of this one. This one is definitely going to take a couple of tries to get all the emblems and Chaos. Oh! Chaos Emeralds. I don't think I can get them all in one pass this time. I can give it a shot, though. Whoa. Nope, I'm just going to... Alright. Let's try again. Night aesthetic. So cool. I actually like the sunset aesthetic a little bit better on this stage, but probably should have saved that. Yeah, I'll save that one for last, because I gotta get that Chaos Emerald. Sometimes you can definitely just get into a groove with this game. It's very satisfying. Alright, let's see if we can get the Chaos Emeralds. I doubt it. Might be able to get one of them. Probably deal with the... let's go for broke. If I have to restart, whatever. Ooh. Oh, that was close. I got it, though. Might still be able to recover. Got my sights on you, Knuckles. See if we can pull this off. Oh. Total honesty, I did not think that I was going to be able to pull that off. But I think... Woo! Nice. I love doing that. There's nothing more satisfying than getting all of the character emblems and all the Chaos Emeralds in one go. Even though the character that it unlocks is really... Just don't play as Egg Robo. I haven't played as Egg Robo in years. I don't remember the last time that I've played as another character besides Sonic and Super Sonic in this game, to be perfectly honest. I get in full just kind of speedrun mode when I play Sonic R. I maybe will play Metal Knuckles occasionally. Metal Knuckles is pretty great. But one of the big things about Metal Knuckles is that in his character race, he is a cheater. It took me a long time to figure out what he was doing, but he cheats. So when you see me cheat in Reactive Factory, that's not... It's only because the game did first. So don't blame me on that one. I've also been playing Sonic 3 Air recently. I just downloaded that actually last night. It's impressive. I really like the finally being able to play S3 and K in widescreen. That's really cool. The addition of achievements is really cool. A lot of just quality of life improvements. The special stages are fantastic. But I'm torn because I really, really like Sonic 3 Complete as well. I like the customization options that Sonic 3 Complete allows that Sonic 3 Air just does not have the same degree of. But the flip side is that, you know, it's playable. Yeah, I think it's just more refined than Sonic 3 Complete, but Sonic 3 Complete definitely has more stuff going on. Let's see. What's up, Chica Shroom? Sonic GT, I have played that a lot more than I expected to. Let me tell you what, Sonic GT is not perfect. I think that his Sonic still controls a little bit stiffly. I think that aesthetically, the level, like, I love the multiple, like, there's multiple paths up the wazoo. It took me forever to figure out the optimal route to beat Sonic and to beat Tails in the race, but when I did, that was super satisfying. I've never had that same experience with a modern Sonic game before. Just that degree of skill mastery. It was very classic in its approach there. I will say that I think that just presentation-wise, it could be improved to make the multiple paths look a little less thrown together. When you actually play through it, you realize how much actual thinking went into each zone, or to each section of that zone. But it can definitely be improved to look a little less geometric shapes thrown together. But besides that, I mean, like, fantastic. Like, cannot express enough. Oops. Cannot express enough how much I like it. Looking forward to seeing more from that project. Ooh. Jump the gun. Yes, I'm a dirty cheater, but again, the game cheated first. I wouldn't have known that shortcut if Metal Knuckles didn't take it. Sorry, 1 second, guys. Can you get me some Powerades too? Awesome, thank you. Cool. Yeah, seriously, there are way more multiple paths to this game than this game has any right to have. I love it for it. Let's get that Chaos Emerald while we're here. Well, it's convenient. Ooh. You're so funny, Eggman. Like, that makes a difference. Day by day. Let me try it. Okay. I just need to see if I can get the submarine Chaos Emerald. Might be a little too ambitious this time. Might be able to pull this off. Boom. Okay. I was kind of hoping that I was going to need a little bit more time than it's looking like it's going to... Oh, that screwed me. Oh, maybe. Oh, man. Well, I got Metal Knuckles. That wall screwed me. Yeah, I've never experienced a cheating AI as much as Metal Knuckles in a game. It seriously is. Because how are you supposed to know you're supposed to take that sharp turn right there? The only reason that I knew it is because I was able to, once as a kid, stay close enough to him to actually see him pull that off. But if for whatever reason you were ahead of him at the beginning, there would be no way of knowing how the heck he pulled it off. Oh, jeez. It's giving me a run for my money again. Just like in the old days. Uh-oh. I'm concerned. Man, I wish Metal Knuckles would make another appearance. His design is so cool. They did a really good job of kind of keeping him in... Oh, crap. That's gonna... Oh, boy. Oh, no. That screwed me. They did a really good job of kind of keeping him in the same design philosophy as Metal Sonic. But they came up with some really clever ways of representing Knuckles' attributes as well. Interesting. It looked like he got kind of stuck on that wall after he made that quick turn off the ramp. Fabian Lopez, I am using the Saturn color mod. I don't know if it's so much a mod, if it is just re-enabling the lighting that was already there. I could be wrong. The mods that I am for sure using are Blaze Hedgehog's Better Ring sound effects, where he took some of the sound effects from Sonic 3D Blast Saturn or Sonic 3D Blast PC and put them in here just for more clarity. I think that was the only one that I installed that didn't automatically come with the installer. Ready, set, go. I kind of went just to muscle memory there, and I meant to answer more questions, but kind of just started this next race without thinking, so I will really quickly finish this, and then I'll take a few more minutes to answer you guys. Sorry about that. I'm pretty scatterbrained today. Have not had my coffee. Oh. I'll come back for you. That's a really cool use of the water shield too. Very clever utility. I just remembered that submarine that I wanted to go to earlier is not actually even the Chaos Emerald submarine. So it would have been a waste of time either way. We just lapped it. Oh, no, we didn't lap Amy. Oh. She was actually in second place for some reason. I was also very into the OVA, the Sonic OVA at the time that I was really playing Sonic R. And the world of Sonic R and the world of the Sonic OVA are very similar. Crap. Knuckles. Stealing Micaiah's emeralds. And so I think that kind of gave me, that formed my opinion of what Sonic's world should be. And it was kind of a mixture of those two things. Then when I finally got to play Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 in depth, they definitely did not feel, you know, they felt incongruent to that. Let's see here. Mike Shadow asks, could they release the Sunshine remix instead of a year-old track for Team Sonic Racing's marketing? That'd be nice. But Sonic Generations had some pretty good Sonic R remixes that I don't see why they couldn't just throw in there. I've got mixed feelings about Team Sonic Racing. Like, for one, pretty much all the songs that T-Lopes has worked on have sounded great. There's some really great tracks in there. But at the same time, I know that a lot of them are getting recycled from previous games. Not necessarily music tracks, but, you know, the racing tracks themselves, which I am not a fan of. Everything about Team Sonic Racing just kind of screams budget title. And I think it's great that they delayed it longer, but I'm very curious to see what, if any, actual improvements are made because of the delay, and how much of it was just, you know, we have the opportunity to kind of delay this and get better optics on it from fans. I think that's possible. I don't think it's going to be a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. I think that it's going to be a very solid kart racer. But it no matter what you do, it's still going to feel like a step down from Sega All-Stars Racing in my eyes. And I'm not a big fan of traditional kart racers to begin with, even the good ones, so. Robius says, I heard that when Ian Flynn was working on the Archie comics, he was given information from Sega of Japan about a bunch of Sonic games that they apparently consider this game canon. You know, there's not a lot here in terms of story, and so if they want to consider it canon, there's zero anything that would cause contradictions to happen. But that totally makes sense as to why Metal Knuckles made an appearance towards the end of the Archie series. I can't remember which issue it was. It was right around the one where the Echidnas got totally wiped out for good, I think. And then it was the Living Weeds, whatever those were called in the Archie series, the Krudzu, something like that. And they infested Mecha Knuckles and turned him into like a Metal Overlord equivalent, or a Metal Knuckles Kai, if I remember right. Pretty sick. Bit off topic, but do you? But do you think that they will release Sonic Unleashed on PC? I think that it's just a matter of time. Aaron has said that it's kind of a Sega of Europe decision. I think that they will, more likely than not. I thought that it was kind of entertaining that during the last live stream, they wanted to play Sonic Unleashed, and they couldn't get the PlayStation 3 working. Like, hey, you know, if you had it on PC, you wouldn't have that problem. So, oh, I don't know. I think that it would be great to have on PC. I think that the Unleashed project for Generations is fantastic, and that it technically plays better than Unleashed would, but it would just be really nice to see those lighting effects and all that in pristine, you know, 1080p, 4K, 60 FPS that the original Unleashed just was unable to pull off. I would love to see something like that. Mecha Shadow said, Sonic Advance had Metal Knuckles. Technically, it's a different Metal Knuckles, though. And it's not nearly as cool looking as this Metal Knuckles. Fabian Lopez, this game would really benefit from a higher poly project and an AI upscale textures. Yes. 100% agree. Incongruent is a good word to describe the history of Sonic's world. That, I think so too. Hasn't Unleashed been delisted? I know what you're talking about. The whole delisting of things under a certain, was it a Metacritic score? I'm not really convinced that they're going to be sticking to that anymore. I don't know why. Like, I haven't heard anything to solidify that. But the fact that Sonic 06 saw a reissue through the PlayStation 4, through PlayStation Now, I think means that they're more likely to release it than they would have been back when that edict was still fresh. As a collector of the Archie Sonic comics from beginning to end, I have to say the biggest thing it's taught me is that Sonic is better off without big, intricate canon storyline. I think that you can have a cool canon storyline with Sonic, but intricate, yeah, I would agree, is probably not necessary. Sonic doesn't have to be a soap opera. In fact, I think that it would benefit from being the exact opposite of a soap opera. As long as the characters and the scenarios are compelling, I don't think that anybody cares. Like, I don't think anybody would really complain about, you know, the tone that Sonic Unleashed took with its story. It still felt like kind of an adventure era title in terms of how it told its story. It was still a very, you know, I wouldn't say that it got me necessarily emotionally, but it definitely had some pathos to it, which a lot of Sonic games lack. I would even say that Sonic 06 has its moments too. I don't think I've ever really said this in public, but Silver is probably one of my favorite friend characters. So I've got kind of a soft spot for that game and his scenario. I haven't played his scenario in that game for a long time, but just the whole kind of Trunks meets Kyle Reese from Terminator combination as a Sonic character, considering the fact that Sonic was always very inspired by Dragon Ball, the fact that Silver is basically Trunks, who himself was basically Kyle Reese from Terminator, that just kind of fits well. I like him. And the whole thing with Blaze and stuff in that game, I thought was surprisingly well done. And Sonic is not completely unfamiliar with really in-depth story, or, you know, deep storytelling, I guess. It's not very often that it's done particularly well. I would say that the best example of them doing it well was Gamma. That's because they knew not to have him run his mouth. Like, his death scene at the end of his story in Sonic Adventure is probably the most poignant, emotional moment in the entire Sonic series. Because it's just solemn. It's like this character is at its end, but it's bittersweet because the creature that he was basically running off of was finally free, and it's way better than it's head and shoulders above any other type of storytelling the Sonic series has told. But I think that you can see Sonic tell great stories. They just don't have to be super intricate. Again, the example that I go to is Pixar. Like, Pixar are family movies, but you can't deny that movies like Up and I don't know, I haven't actually seen Inside Out, but I've heard people cry at that one. I cried at the end of Toy Story 3. They can do emotional things and still in a family setting. Like, you don't have to be grimdark to tell a good story. I think Sonic needs to kind of aim for that Pixar area. I mostly ask because, like, I like Unleashed more than Generations. Generations doesn't feel the same as Unleashed, but you know it would be better? Chow Garden. I love Chow Garden. At this point, I should probably just come out with it and say that my next video is going to be Chow Garden related. I'm not going to go super into what that means yet, but I'm in the middle of editing the audio for it right now. The audio editing should be done by this week, which means that I should be moving into the video editing next week. And so hopefully, before my usual stream in a couple of weeks, I should have the video up and ready. Don't quote me on that, but it's coming, and that's what it's about. I would include the death of Shadow in SA2, but that was ruined by him immediately coming back in Heroes. Yeah, kind of same vibe. Yeah, Shadow's whole shtick was kind of ruined by Heroes. Well, as short as that was, guys, we're pretty much at the end at this point. And this is going to be a no-brainer because Supersonic is just broken. I love it. He's got great traction. He's got great handling. Stupid fast. Also, Sonic R was the first game that I actually unlocked Supersonic in. So it's got kind of a soft spot in my heart for that reason as well. Just feel the pace. Come on now, race! Basically, at this point, like this level when you have Supersonic, this is just a victory lap. They might as well be playing credits over this because by this point you're well and done. Like Metal Knuckles just passed me, but that's not gonna stick. Sorry, friend. To a place where you can feel my heart just race. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, that was just sometimes the stages in this game overlap each other in a way that it makes it look like you've lost your positioning for just a second. But that's mostly just because of how the paths are, you know, either one going under another or getting so close that the computer assumes that you're going backwards maybe for a second. So, yeah. Destiny Lauren asks, how bad do you think the Sonic movie is going to be? Were it not for the fact that Sonic has just made his living on being self-aware for the last 10 or so years, I would say it would be a lot worse than I think it's going to be. The problem is that this movie is going to be bad. It will be bad, but it's going to be bad in a self-aware way, which I think a lot of people are going to give it a pass on, which I would encourage you not to. Like, don't laugh with it when you're giving money to it. I mean, like, you can laugh at the fact that the people who are behind it clearly have no idea what they're doing, and that it's a madness, but like, don't support it. Don't pirate it either, but don't support it. It's not going to be worth it. You're going to come out of it and you're just going to be screaming, oh, what a waste of money. Oh, this is stupid. They ruined the character. Guess what? You knew all that going into it before you threw money at it, but because it's Sonic, you had to throw money at it. And so I say this as a gigantic hypocrite because I'm not even convinced that I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? It's frustrating. I feel like I'm in a trap. It's funny because Can You Feel the Sunshine is more a theme song to this game than the actual theme song. Yeah, you're right. I'd give you that. But I mean, there is not a single bad note in this game. in terms of music. Whole thing is great. Movie's coming out on my best friend Forever's birthday, so, oh, you know, I'm not gonna tell you you can't see it. I'm not your parents. If you really want to see it, and if you think that you're gonna have a good time with it, by all means, go for it. But if you're going into it knowing it's going to be bad and you just want to experience how bad it's going to be, like, if you think that you're going to be miserable in the movie, I don't understand why you would waste money on it. But if you think that you'll have a good time with it, you know, go for it. Consider it approved, I guess? I don't know. Because, will the Sonic movie permanently alter Sonic's reputation? I don't think so. I think, from what we've heard, like, it's going to be bad. But by the simple fact that it's not going to be playable, and so you can't, like, make a YouTube career off of just exploiting its glitches and saying, oh, how bad Sonic is. It's going to be seen by people, it's going to review poorly, and it's just going to disappear. It's just going to be, like, it's kind of the same as asking, did the Mario movie destroy Mario's reputation? Technically, the answer is yes, but the game's made up for it, and I'm hoping that Sonic will be in a situation after this movie comes out that future games will be good enough to make up for that. But you never know. It's a real roller coaster with this franchise, so I don't mean to sound nihilistic. I'm really not, but there's a mixture of emotions that come along with this whole debacle that I've not fully processed yet. Movie's just a culmination of what Sonic's reputation already is. That is pretty much right. I wouldn't argue with that. I am not endorsing any type of piracy or theft of this movie. Just don't do it. Like, the best that I could say is that the Sonic movie will... A lot of what the studio considers a success is just based on that first week of ticket sales. If it doesn't get that, if it drops out of theaters quick and comes to Redbox quick, if I don't see it in theaters, I'll Redbox it, because I think that that'll be a little less supportive of this stupidity. I think that that would be what I would recommend. The biggest difference between the Sonic movie flop and the 06 boom flop is that the Sonic movie is going to show to the public. Yeah, I guess to an extent that probably is true. I'm trying to think. I mean, like, something in my brain is not fully agreeing with that, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of why that is. I'm trying to get to why I can't fully agree with that. Well, I mean, it's gonna... I think the thing is, it's going to show to the public the same way that, like, the album, the Chipmunks movie, and the Smurfs came to the public. It's going to appeal to a very specific subset of fans, and then, you know, parents bring in their kids. But I really don't see this movie having the kind of sticking power that's going to permanently alter the entire, you know, franchise. I just don't see it being that way. How are those games not public? I mean, like, they were public, clearly, but you have to acknowledge that the install base for video games, specifically platformers, which are not nearly as in vogue as they were 15, 20 years ago, they're not going to have as big of an install base today as a movie would. So I get where he was coming from with that one. What sort of fan idea would you like to see happen in the next Sonic game? I would like to see Tails as a playable character in the Hedgehog engine. Yeah, no, I think seeing playable, playable buddies come back, I think it's well past due. That said, I just want Sonic to play well. I want them to understand and make a immaculate playing Sonic game, and then adding the additional stuff on top of that. So if the next Sonic game has Sonic playing very, very well, then I'd be like, yeah, throw in the other characters. But if the other characters are stealing away development time from making a better core product, then, continue to hold off until we can get to the point where we can have both. So tired of nearly everything this series is doing right now. I hope the movie is decent, that the games can get back on track. Me too. I'm optimistic, simply because, as you guys all know, I'm pretty sure that we're gonna see a Sonic Adventure, if not a Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 remake, coming up here as the next main Sonic game. I think that the writing's on the wall for that one. If I'm wrong, I'll be kind of bummed, because it just makes so much sense. But at the very least, an adventure formula game, or even an adventure modern hybrid, I think would be good. But I think that good things are in store. But I also thought that was Sonic Forces, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. A good physics engine. Yep. That's all I really want to. That's, but a good physics engine doesn't make a fully good game. That's just the core. You need to have a good core. Like, the physics are the good core of a good game. And if you just build off of that, then everything else is just, icing on the cake, in my opinion. Just another reviewer says, I might be wrong, but I believe that there was a leak that the next game will be related to the movie. I heard the leak you're talking about. They said tie-in. I don't necessarily think that that means that it will be movie inspired, so much as it will be that it will come out, or there will be something Sonic related to kind of tie in and cross promote the movie. And so we might see a Sonic game. I don't think it's going to be the main Sonic game. And I don't even necessarily think that it's going to be a movie-related Sonic game. It's just going to be a Sonic game to bolster the fact, hey, this movie is in theaters, go see it. Because that's what that type of cross-promotion is meant to do. If it is movie-related, I just don't understand the decisions that Paramount has made here. If it is movie-related, I guess I could see maybe a mobile game, Sonic Dash ripoff, maybe. Sonic the Hedgehog the movie visual novel. Yep, they need to get the gameplay down first. That should be priority number one. Alright, everyone. I think that I'm probably going to call it quits for now. I know this was a short one. I'm sorry. Sonic R is just such a short game. I actually expected that talking while I was doing it was going to slow me down a little bit more than it did. But I didn't really have anything else planned for today. So the next video that should be coming out is probably going to be the Chow video. It probably won't be a stream next time. It'll be my next main essay video. And then I'm just kind of... streaming at this point is kind of a supplement for my main videos. My main videos take a lot longer to do. These are pretty easy to set up and go for. So it's just something to keep the channel alive between, the bigger projects. So no stream in a couple of weeks, but that should be replaced with a full video essay. All right, guys. Well, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully we'll get a chance to do this again soon. Appreciate it. And for now, that is all I've got. Have a good one.